talk about creating safe spaces in Castro.
Did somebody say recovery?
Let's talk about meetings, sex and recovery.
Sober sex? Did somebody say dick?
Let's talk about mental health. Let's talk about
Welcome. You are at the CCC.
Where there are no outside issues with Bonnie Violet.
And Lulu, I forgot my name.
Each week we will provide and create a brave space where we engage in conversations and topics of recovery.
And our intention is to inspire better spaces for more people in recovery.
By tackling topics used to separate us.
But before we do that, remember, like, share, comment, share. Yeah. Oh my God. How are you doing, Bonnie? It's like, if you guys are tuning in, obviously you notice that Bonnie's not in our fabulous studio. How are you doing?
I'm so sad about it. I'm at home sick. I'm feeling a little bit better today, but not at 100. So I didn't want to contaminate everyone.
Don't we love modern technology?
Right? It's good. How are you?
You know what? I'm really good, actually. It's like I amaze myself. Like, so Pride weekend, I did all that dancing, and I did more dancing this weekend. It's like I feel like a new person. So it's like it's all good.
Oh, you're feeling fresh.
I'm feeling fresh. Keeping it fresh is like, it's nice. So look, next to me is this.
Who is that?
I know, it's an amazing person. Why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us who you are.
Hi, my name is Billy, and I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, Billy.
Among other things.
Among other things. So we have to come closer to the mic because we don't want the echo. Yes.
All right.
Don't be shy.
Is this close enough?
Yeah, exactly. Get into it. It's like, think about this as the beginning of a seduction.
Put your lipstick on the mic.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Don't tempt me.
How was your week?
Crazy. Up and down, in and out, trying to figure out what I want to do with the rest of my life now that I can actually go outdoors.
Yeah.
And not knowing anything, I missed the dancing at the that you were at, and I haven't been dancing in I don't know how long, and this is not good.
I think the nice thing is that that the party this weekend that we went to is a monthly party. It'll happen all the time, and we get a lot of folks who are in recovery together, and it's super nice.
Yes. Yeah. Could you do me a favor?
I can do you a favor.
Just make sure I know what the next one
Absolutely.
happens.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I'm old and I forget things.
Oh,
so.
no, exactly.
Yes.
We'll make sure, and for anybody who's around, because it's like everybody's invited. What I like is I'm no longer interested in opening and closing an event anymore. That was a problem. Not knowing when to leave. Before we dive into this conversation, I want you all to know that I am not a narcissist. It just so happened, it worked out that this print, or the portrait behind me,
the nose is growing.
I did not intentionally. It was not intentionally set up here. It is behind me. It was. I call it one of the blessings. I mean, it's you can't see, but there's a picture of Miss Billy on the other side. But it's one of the blessings. The artist reached out to me and asked if I would be okay with him painting this picture, and I said, why not? Because of course I want somebody to write a song about me, or maybe a poem, and it's all about immortalization.
When's your movie coming out?
No movie. No, but anyway, so that's that there. I mean, I love it. I think it's beautiful, but I did not stage this section. This was Brandon. Thank you, Brandon. So Bonnie, welcome. Let's start talking about our topic today.
Yeah, I wanted to say hello to Nora and Jason and Deborah. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but thank you all for joining us this evening.
Yes, welcome.
We're afternoon now, huh? So I guess it's afternoon. So yeah, this evening we were gonna talk a little bit about staying fresh in recovery, which It's something that I think I could probably handle a bit of freshening up in, if I'm honest right now. And I hear Billy's kind of an expert with keeping it fresh.
Exactly. I think that when we thought of the topic, we were thinking we need someone who's
old as dirt.
Well,
yes.
Okay, it's like you can say it that way, but someone who continues to work their recovery and from my angle, like make it seem still just as fresh as it was in the beginning, which I know is not an easy task.
And it's really not true, because I go through my phases. It boils down to a lot of the stuff they used to tell me when I was a baby, which is, you got to give it away to keep it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty basic. If you don't use it, you lose it. It's like anything else. It's like going to the gym. You lose muscle mass if you, and it is really the same thing. I didn't plan it this way, but it turns out about every 10 years, I wound up doing 90 and 90 again.
Mm.
And I know it's time to do 90 and 90 when people seem to be an inconvenience.
Yeah. Oh.
And they're in my way. And how do they? Don't they know who I am? And if I ignore it too long, it turns into a monster.
Oh, yeah.
And the other part of it, then it turns into a resentment.
Yeah. I was talking to a sponsee today, and this piece about either we get to take action, preemptive action, or it is the discomfort and the pain that causes us to have to take action. And so, I've told a story before, when I was working at the country club here, and I had gotten to a place where I was really toxic because somehow I thought I could get my recovery through osmosis. If I was around you, I just rub your essence in and I got what I needed. And it doesn't work like that. It's like I constantly, every day I have to, what I needed yesterday may not be the same. That's true for the day. And so I've got to focus on that. And this idea of if I'm loving myself and I'm thinking about doing the things that are helping me be the best possible version of myself, then I'm doing what I need to do to kind of keep from cutting a bitch today,
Right.
Yeah.
A 90. Right.
No, I don't know anything about that. No.
And for folks who might not know what a 90 and 90 is, I think a 90 and 90 is a great way to freshen things up. But in some recovery circles, people will go to a support group meeting once a day for 90 days. And usually that happens in new recovery, or Billy was talking about, just maybe, I know I always do a 90 and 90 when I start a new job or I move to a new city, or again, I'm mad at everybody.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's
upheaval.
Yeah,
yes.
Exactly. It's like pressing that restart button and saying, okay, I'm gonna, because the best way to kind of recover is to go back to the basics,
In my first, when I first decided I wanted to get sober, that I finally identified the problem, and but I didn't know about AA and I didn't know about recovery, and I tried to do it on my own, and it was the 2 worst years of my life. I started having blackouts, which I hadn't had before, and I got to experience powerlessness like I never had before. And actually, I didn't realize it, but what I was doing was I was working my first 3 steps so that when I got here, I could jump in.
Mm-hmm.
And there was this old guy who mentored me, and I would always ask him, "What's the secret?" And I asked other people, but they thought I was trying to say, "Well, how do I get out of here? When do I graduate?" That sort of thing. And that wasn't it. I just knew that there were ways to do things more easily than others, but to do them. And so I asked him 10 times, and he'd say something. I said, "No, that's not it." And then one day he got mad at me, which sometimes that's the best 12 step you can, is to get real and get mad with somebody. And he said, "Listen, kid, you show up, you do what's in front of you, you do what you can, and you leave the rest for somebody else." And I'm standing at a meeting, jumping up and down, saying, "That's it, that's it." and that's essentially to this day, what I do, I show up, I make sure I get enough meetings, I do what's in front of me, and I don't, I don't try and do it all. I leave the rest for somebody else. I mean, why shouldn't other people get the blessing?
Absolutely.
know?
Share.
Yeah.
You know what I was thinking? Another way to keep things fresh. It's like when I came in, this idea of finding your tribe, it's like it took me a while. And one of our fellows, Charles,
Yes.
he would see, it's like, because when we come in, we're not perfect. It's like all of a sudden I stopped drinking, I stopped using. Yeah, exactly. I stopped drinking, stopped using. I'm still a shitty mess until I do the work that helps me to get better. And so what I found is I find people, like-minded individuals who are moving in the same direction with me, who kind of release me to be, who kind of let me be a mess. Like I can't be held accountable if I'm trying to be better. And so one of the ways that I keep it fresh is I'm constantly changing and growing. My better is getting better. My best is getting bester, if that's a word. And sometimes you have to lovingly move on from people. As much as I want to keep the same people in my space and around, when we move in different directions, I like to say, you let people go and grow in the direction that God wants them to grow in. And to me, like I've found times I surround myself with people who just inspire me. Like take me make me want to be a better man, make me want to be better at things. And I think that's how you keep things fresh. That's how you change. Like, I'm excited because I see this is what this individual's doing. And, maybe this is something I can try.
My first sponsor for my first 12 years, he used to shame me into good behavior constantly. It was like he was such an example that he would tell me to do something. I'd be like, no. And then I would watch him and the amount of effort he put into stuff. And I was like, okay, I guess I better. Because I wanted what he had.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ultimately.
Yeah.
How about you, Bob?
Yeah, Nora was actually saying in the comments that something's helpful is to change up your meetings. So, change up where you go for your support group, kind of like what you were talking about with different friendships, maybe not just socially, but also maybe what groups that you go to, or maybe what it is your tool you're utilizing in recovery as well.
Yeah, it's like I think you said like if you don't know enough, if you don't know who the newcomers are in the meeting, then you're not going to enough meetings. And that's a big part too. If you're not going to any meetings, it's like it might help to go to some meetings.
Yeah. Absolutely. The newcomers are such a blessing. They used to say the most important person at the meeting was the newcomer, and I thought, what crap. And then
only when we're the newcomers.
Yes. And then I realized, they remind us why we're here. You get a life, it's easy to forget how you got life and to forget how important it is just to go to a meeting, there was I got 30 years and I got a resentment out of nowhere because I wasn't paying attention. And I just struggled with this thing, and it hit me from behind while I was bending over.
Oh,
I didn't know it was coming. And it just consumed me. And I hadn't had one in so long. It was just like bowled me over. And the newcomer showed up in my life, and he told me that he was going to go off somewhere where he could get arrested. And I'm like, no, you're going back in the program. And I babysat him for 3 days and got him back into Father Alfred. And suddenly I realized the morning that I walked him over, I didn't have a resentment anymore. He reminded me why I was here. And the most important thing is that I drank today. And if the answer to that is no, I'm doing better than I know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I know.
I think definitely like sometimes it helps to get over myself, like you say, to get over my cheap self, to be of service to someone else, to kind of, and not in a way, I mean, you have to be careful because like sometimes like I will slip just like anybody else in focusing on someone else so much more so that I don't have to focus on my own thing.
Uh-huh.
But there's a way to focus on and be supportive and listen to someone else so I can get over my thing, because maybe in my mind, my thing is overwhelming. For me, and I talked about this before, my process is, and I'm so grateful like that. I feel like I'm in the center of life, but I'm kind of hanging off. But my process is I will bring my issue, because I have this amazing sponsor that I do work with, and I'll bring my issue and I will talk about it ad nauseum until I feel like I'm good with it, and then I will move on. As opposed to the way I used to handle it in the beginning, I would work it out, I'd deal with it, and then I'd show up and I'd say, "This is how I did it." And you don't have to do that. It's like you don't have to. It's like you get to kind of connect, engage. Like the Castro Country Club. This is a perfect space. It's like if you're not in San Francisco and you're in an area where you do have something like this is a way to keep it fresh, because you're constantly, like you said, you're constantly around other people. I mean, there's so much diversity even with ourselves, but having other people kind of coming in and showing you through their actions how they do it. I mean, that's great.
There was a time years ago where the club almost folded, and suddenly there was a hole in my heart. There was my life was lacking. It was just the idea that this could not be here for other newcomers the way it was for me when I was a newcomer. I came in March 4th, 1983, and this place opened up April 1st, 1983. So it was this is where I came when I didn't know whether to shit or go blind. This is where I came and sat until something happened, and something always happens. Somebody said, "Let's go get something to eat," or "Let's go to a meeting," or what have you. And I knew as long as I was in these rooms, I was safe. I wasn't feeling tip top, but I was safe. It wasn't going to get worse, which is always a possibility.
Yeah, it's true.
Yes.
I'm looking at Bonnie's stars right now.
Well,
Yeah, go ahead.
One of the things I was thinking about, like stagnancy or becoming stale, if you will, non-fresh in recovery can be kind of be a dangerous place. And I think one of the things for me in thinking about long-time sobriety, though, is that and I don't have a long, especially being next to Billie, I'm like, I don't have a long time, but I have had, over 10 years, and my sobriety has looked very different over that time. And sometimes I've had to allow myself to not be it's looked very different. There's times when I didn't have sponsorship. There were times when I was really active, and there were, and I think one of the things that was really important for me was that I and my sponsors and my community allowed me some grace through that process as well. I didn't pick up a drink or drug. I didn't harm anybody in the process. I don't think nothing that was unfixable, if you will, I guess. I mean, I think we harm just by existing, but yeah, I don't know. I think that's one of the things that came to my mind.
No, definitely. I think that I love that you said grace, because I think that we have to be gentle with ourselves, and being gentle with yourself doesn't mean that you will just put up with anything, but being gentle, not judging us for not doing it perfectly, because I think that one of the things I struggled with was this idea of perfection, and obviously perfection is not something I'm going to achieve. That's left for my higher power. So like you said earlier, it's like some days all I can do is not pick up a drink or a drug. And if I didn't drink or use in that, then I was successful. And then I get to do it different the next day. And that's a great start. I mean, obviously we, in keeping fresh, we have to go with the basics. My purpose here is to stay sober so that I can have this clarity and this sense of self and purpose so that I can be of service to other people.
Mm-hmm.
The most wonderful thing about the program is I've got a place where I belong. And I've got a purpose, which is to stay sober and carry the message. And in the process, I saved my own white ass. Skanky though it may be. I remember talking to an old timer, and I thanked him when I was new for all the stuff he did. And he said, "What do you think? I'm a great humanitarian?" No, I do this because it saves me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think, go ahead.
That just seems too simple. You know, like it's got to be more than just
Yeah, but
that.
that's how that works. It's like we make things difficult. It's like, but it is that just that simple.
Yeah.
Mm.
And you know, it is true. You know, we help ourselves by helping others.
Yeah, exactly.
Years ago, when Bill Wilson was still alive, he I don't know why I'm telling this story, but anyway, he was at a dinner party at the Luce's, and there was a Swami that came over. Oh, I can't think of his name right now. And they went to dinner, both of them at the Luce's, because they always had, you know, all sorts of important people to dinner. Sachidananda was the man's name. And he cornered Bill after dinner and said, you know, I think your 12 steps are wonderful. In fact, the only difference between your followers and my followers, thank God nobody in AA heard followers, about Bill. And he said is, my followers have chosen a spiritual life because they want to. Your followers have chosen a spiritual life because they have to.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, if you haven't got a hand in,
Mm-hmm.
you know, doing stuff, you know, it's just not as much fun.
Yeah.
We are the Islam lot. I can't think of anybody else I'd rather hang out with. I'll match our education with anybody's. I don't care what they got in the bank or on the wall.
Yeah. I think,
You know.
I love that story, Billy. And it kind of causes me to think about like, that idea of like, I totally lost my train of thought.
That's all right, my dear.
No, that's okay.
Happens
It's
to
like
me all the time.
it'll come back to you when it comes
It'll
to
totally come back.
just chime in. It's all good. Yeah, no, I think that like again, like I heard you say earlier, it's like there are times when I'm like of service completely, and other times where I kind of shut down completely. And I almost feel like all of that in my mind is self-care, because like without knowing, sometimes my body gives me what I need when I need it. I'm fortunate enough now, and it doesn't always happen because now I'm living by myself, and it's a great opportunity to go back to
There's
behave.
no one around to blame.
Exactly. It's like because it's like I've been known to turn on a meeting online and turn the volume down and then do something else. It's a great time to put rollers in my hair or do something different.
Yes,
You know?
yes, yes.
But no, it's like just really kind of. I think I lost my train of thought.
It's your turn. I remember mine now.
Okay, perfect.
But around desperation, I think, you know, when you were talking about like that, that spiritual person saying how like about like how alcoholics or addicts and 12 steps or, you know, 12-step folks have to come to rely on like, or whatever. I feel like there is that desperation in the beginning, but I think for me, one of the things that's been helpful, and maybe it's a fresh thing, is that I don't have that desperation anymore. Like I have the desire to have a relationship with my higher power and all that sort of stuff, rather than, and I do need it, but I don't, you know, it's an easy decision. It's not out of desperation. It's like the easiest choice of my day.
You know what works and you're going to do it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
On that same token, because it's so easy, that it's easy to take it for granted. Because I think about the relationship with my higher power. Like I've been trying to treat it like a relationship with a friend. Like if I stop nurturing that, my friend's going to stop calling me. So I need to call and connect and stay. Yeah,
exactly. If you want to lose somebody from your life, do nothing. Stop calling them. Don't think to invite them when you're having people over. Just stop paying attention to them, and they're going to disappear. And you know, this is a good thing sometimes.
Oh yeah. Well, hello.
Because you don't have to create cheap scenes and slam doors, and you just fade.
It doesn't have, exactly.
away.
It doesn't have to be a stage
No
performance.
cheap
It's
scenes.
no,
Yes,
exactly.
no drama.
No drama. Woe is me.
Yeah.
Hey, so something else that like I was thinking about as we were talking. Okay, so oh my God, it's like today is the day. There's a gas in the room, and we really like forget. I'm gonna definitely come back to it because it was an important point, and it had I don't know. How was your day?
I much better now. Much better now. I came here on the F. The guy was so slow, it was pissing me off. And I'm sitting there praying on the F market, right? Saying, you know, he's going so slow. And the other thing is God save me from being angry.
Yeah.
Because that, he missed every light.
Okay.
I mean, he was talented.
Well, the only reason why I would catch the F train is because I'm not in a rush and I just want to see everything.
Yeah.
Because I never expect that F train to be moving fast.
Oh, really? I have always had good luck with that, getting where I want to go. But anyway, it doesn't matter. It was so damn silly of me in the first. I should have known I would get here in time.
Absolutely.
I should have known everything was going to be all right. And I should have ditched the drama before it started. You got a window of opportunity with that kind of stuff. And if you jump on it right away, it doesn't turn into this monster.
Yeah.
It doesn't start dragging you around.
Oh God, yeah. It's like
David.
Resentment is when stuff in your head is dragging you around. And of course, if you really got a bad resentment, you can't get away from that person. You'll see them everywhere.
Oh God.
Whether they're there or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's worse than what it was when I got here, which was crisis management. It wasn't really a life at all.
Yeah.
Just like, okay, next disaster.
David? Oh yeah, I was gonna say David, who's a regular, said, "Shit, I'm late. I wonder if he was on the F too."
I love that. It's like, I'm late. Oh my God.
Oh dear. And I didn't even have a white rabbit with a watch to blame.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. I think the point that I was going to bring up. Okay, so like, we talked about before, like on past shows, there's so many different ways to kind of approach recovery. Like 12-step is one way. You have other programs. I think that for me, it's like, so where I'm at now, like the relationship that I have with my sponsor, we have gone to other books. Like we have been reading Recurring Ring, How to Be an Anti-Racist with Ibram Kendi. We read the 4 Agreements. We're going to start reading some Brene Brown, whatever. And we apply the reading, and we talk about it in relationship to our personal recovery. And what I found, what I believe in, and correct me if I'm wrong, or you get to a place where initially in the beginning, recovery is about like the basics, the meat and potatoes. It's about not picking up and using or whatever. It's about relearning how to be a person, how to show up,
How to take your pulse.
Exactly. How to take your pulse.
To go to a next meeting.
Exactly. And after a while, it becomes more, because then we move to this like emotional sobriety that we get to deal with. But now, in my mind, everything that I do is about recovery. It's about recovery. Everything is recovery. Yeah. The act of getting up and making my bed, or cleaning my apartment, or paying my rent, doing those things. It's all about recovery, and our recovery is so much more.
Is defined in the dictionary as doing those things which are necessary for your own well-being.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's everything.
Yeah.
It's sleeping on clean sheets, having clean laundry, having things around you that represent you and that give you joy.
Yeah, exactly.
And I get different messages at different times, and the latest message has been, joy is my birthright.
I
From
like
God
that.
when we're born. And I mean, there's nothing happier than a little baby. They don't have issues. They haven't had time enough.
I know, exactly.
They will.
I love when people share it, when they say it's like, I got home in 3rd grade and and that was the day I could have totally used a martini.
Yeah, our whole life does like become recovery. And I think that's something that I think has been helpful for me to realize is like, because I can try to tick mark and be like, oh, I didn't do anything for my recovery today. But my whole life is a product of my recovery. The places I go, my new friends, the things that I do, the things that I don't do. And it's like, I think over time, I forget sometimes how much I am living in recovery, because it doesn't always look like, you know, I guess grabbing the tools, if you will. It doesn't always have to feel like I'm worried about not drinking or using, or I'm unhappy or like whatever. It just be actually everything that I did in my life today, the fact that I went to my doctor's appointment, the fact that I woke up early, like any of those sorts of things are all like just a product of my recovery.
Absolutely. And for those listening, those watching, it's like, I think the important thing to note, number one, be gentle with yourself, meaning like, you know, yeah, it's awareness of all of the things that you do, all the things that you do that are moving you towards being a better version of yourself, being better than you were. If all you did today was not drink or use, guess what? Pat yourself on the back. Now, mind you, don't rest in that, because it's like that's grace. And you can't like I heard someone else say, it's like, one of my former sponsors, don't mistake God's grace for personal strength. Just don't do it. But you know, there's enough grace to go around, especially if you like, but you need to parcel it out.
I don't know why we're so good at accepting one another and so bad at accepting ourselves. So much more generous with other people.
Yeah.
There was a guy that I knew that had 10 years, and he was taking a newcomer to meetings because the guy was toast. And after 30 days, they found out they really liked each other, and the guy could go to meetings by himself, but they decided they'd keep on doing it. And he came into his apartment, the phone was ringing, he's struggling with the door, he's got groceries, and he's trying to deal with all of this at once, and he drops the milk and he watches it spread out on the floor. And he did that psychic murder that we do on ourselves. You silly, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And he thought, what would I say if the newcomer did it? He said, I'd say it doesn't matter at all, because it doesn't. And he realized he had to treat himself with the same kindness and consideration that he treated a newcomer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Save the roughness for the bedroom, right?
Yeah.
Hey.
Absolutely. I told you this. Exactly. It's like,
I didn't hear that.
Lady.
That's what you think. I just look like a rich white woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think on that same token, it's like we're kind of joking about talking about sex, but I think that getting yourself, because of the work we do, getting yourself to a place where you're willing to have tough conversations with yourself, with other people, own life choices or whatever, expand your way of thinking about things is another way of keeping things fresh. I was kind of where I'm at with sponsees and even with myself is having tough conversations, conversations that really are important, because I need to advocate for myself, because I've set a boundary and I'm learning how to live that boundary. And I'm asking people to respect that boundary, because recently I had a situation, I don't have to go into detail about it, but it's a person that I absolutely love. But what I learned after doing some work around it is I realized that I was giving this person permission to disrespect me. Because I was just going along and I was being dishonest and getting to a place where I'm like, okay, and wanting it to be about that person, but really, you know, realizing, hello, you had a hand in this. And absolutely, you could have nipped this in the bud. Well, I'm gonna be gentle with myself. I'm not gonna punish myself too much, because I obviously I was doing the best I could with the information I had. Now that I have more information, I get to kind of step back and figure out how I'm going to kind of deal with this with as much Bonnie Violet word grace as possible. Yeah.
It's not about making mistakes. It's about It's about acting when you have the knowledge you didn't have before.
Absolutely.
If you don't act, then you're just going to have trouble for the rest of your life with this person because they'll go right on.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and if she volunteered, that's it.
And I don't know if all addicts and alcoholics are this way, but I'm like super, I can be really critical of myself and like not allow myself that grace. And it can become really problematic. And so like I had a situation like you were talking about, Lewis, I really felt with you where it's like, oh shit, yeah, it is me. But I was able to have a conversation with someone who we've been having this like weird tension. And I started to apologize. And then I was like, you know what? I'm not going to apologize. Like we're having this conversation now. So we know how to talk to each other, how to be in communication with each other. The way things were before, like no harm, no foul. And it kind of felt like it just kind of lightened the experience a little bit more, I think, for both of us.
Yeah, exactly. I think, I really feel like, okay, so I always, this idea of practicing. I really feel like it's like every time that I'm in those situations and I act accordingly, where I open my mouth and I say, this is how I feel. And mind you, I didn't go in there, like I said, I didn't go in there guns blazing and making it all about me or whatever, but really kind of expressing, first, this is a tough conversation, but it's a conversation I need to have because I love and respect you, but I love and respect myself more. And I want to talk to you about my perception of the way things have unfolded, and figure out, maybe we get to a place where I understand, where I have a better understanding, because, obviously it's like the old me, I would have gone and said, you, and not looked at my part in this. And, it's like, this is the gift of like doing this work that we do.
My recurring problem is this: I'm a fixer. I want everybody to be friends. I want everything to be nice. And it's very difficult for me to realize you're in a toxic relationship. You bear it well, because I was raised by wolves. Yeah. So none of this is strange to me. But, you just can't do it. You can't be friends with everybody, and you don't want to be.
No.
There was somebody here at the club years ago that used to read everybody and tell them what was wrong with their program in front of everybody, out loud. And
here that was
didn't like anybody except this one person who couldn't figure out why everybody stopped talking to him, because he liked this one person and he figured they were all sitting around whipping ass, the two of them. And he said, nobody talks to me. And I was like, you need to get rid of your friend. And I explained this. You don't want certain people to like you.
Absolutely.
It'll mark you lousy. Absolutely.
Such wisdom.
Well, yeah, no, exactly. That goes with
being old as dirt.
But also like being able to kind of recognize, like, okay, so this relationship is no longer serving me in the way it needs to, and I need to have the wherewithal to kind of step away. Like I always say, I'm going to love you from across the street at this point, because there's nothing else I can do. I mean, I don't want to change you. I don't need to change you. It's like, but I need to change who I'm around, because if it's a toxic situation and I'm staying in it, I'm going to get burned.
And that doesn't even make them a bad person.
No, not at all.
The two of you are just not supposed to play.
Exactly. It's like oil.
You can't play with all
exactly.
God's
It's like we can't play in the park together. So it's like,
hey.
Exactly. Oh my God. That's something that I really always try to focus in on. It's like when I focus on my part, because instead of judging people based on like I always say, it's like, so I have a spectrum for myself that's good and bad. You have a spectrum that's good and bad. And I can't place mine over yours and judge the things that you do as good and bad. Because like you said, you were raised by wolves. I don't know what your past was, especially because I'm self-centered and I'm not going to ask. But it's like, yeah, I know exactly. But it's like, I realize it's like, okay, so I'm going to lovingly kind of disconnect if I can, hopefully with no fireworks or whatever, let you move on in direction. And we may find each other again. We may
Yes.
We may find each other again, but
That's
in
the
this
only hope
Exactly.
you have is to leave them alone for a while.
Exactly. I'm gonna put you in the wash and then like come back for come back for you a little later and maybe like fold you up later.
Yes. Maybe the fluff stuff will work.
Absolutely. So what is the rest of your week like? Because we're coming to a close. It's amazing when we start talking. It's like all of a sudden it's like
I know. Well, it's always been like that.
yeah.
Let's see. I really don't have anything planned, and that's fine. I've been really busy the last couple of days, and I have no problems amusing myself.
Are you going to catch the F train back?
Yeah, I doubt it. I don't know how I'm getting back. I'm probably going to go fishing for somebody who's got a car to get a ride. I'm good at that. I've always been fishing.
I love it now because I live so close by.
Yes.
Now that things are reopening, in person meetings are starting again. Is everything feeling really fresh? Is there maybe a caution of things being too fresh? Can we be too fresh? Or are there things that we should know when we're really, really fresh?
Well, if we're not paying attention,
don't lose your sense of humor.
Yeah, we don't lose your sense of humor. But as far as literally fresh, I think you still need to pay attention to your audience because it's like it's been so long. I need to be careful and not get too handsy.
Right. Use it before you lose it.
Absolutely. But I don't know. It's like I think that I don't know. I feel like everything is brand new. Everything's brand new, and it's an exciting time. And I don't know.
Yes.
I mean, if we stick to what we know is like, you know, there's no wrong way to do it. You just have to be willing to have a conversation. Like if I piss you off, if I do something that offends you or whatever, I'm willing to kind of talk about it and work through it, then we're good. And I think that's, you know, we're all getting out of our awkwardness of being on lockdown. Like I was thinking earlier today, it's like this, all the signage and we're all coming out of this trauma, this kind of collective trauma. And so.
But do you know the sense of history behind it? Every time there's a pandemic, the end and the history of it is, first of all, there's a through the roof with finances. Suddenly there's lots of money. And suddenly there's a party. It doesn't last forever. But, you know, the Renaissance was funded by the Black Plague. You know, people kept on inheriting stuff. And that's where, you know, finances in Europe went through the roof. So you can expect there's going to be a lot of money.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense as to how that should be, but that's the history of it. The other thing, there's going to be a party.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
So choose well.
Choose well.
I'm ready for all of that.
And do it all.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I've been dancing a lot. Hey, so just a reminder, folks, you can reach me at my Instagram at LouisLou86. And there's all these fun pictures of me like at the party that, that Millie's talking about. and you can send me, go ahead. You can send me direct messages. You know, tell me what you want us to talk about.
Slide into your DMs.
Hey.
That's what he used to do all the time. He used to ask you, what should I do next?
I know.
Everybody he met, it's good. It's a good thing to do. It is.
It is. No, it's definitely.
Yeah.
And you can find me at A Queer Chaplain on any socials. And do you want to start us off?
Yeah, so the Castro Country Club is a clean and sober gathering place for all people and a home for the queer recovery community. Located in the heart of the Castro district of San Francisco, we endeavor to be a space where all can seek wisdom, serenity, and courage and joy. Find more information at castrocountryclub.org.
Be sure to check in every Tuesday at 4 p.m. when we go live on our Castro Country Club Facebook and YouTube channels.
And listen, look for us at the CCC wherever you listen to podcasts.
And we love for you to like spend some time with our speak pipe. Give us a voicemail. We haven't gotten a voicemail in a while, so
that sounded kind of sexual. I'm sorry, I had to cut you off.
Right?
Some time
check out our speak pipe. We want to hear from you.
Exactly, and email us at podcast@castrocountryclub.org.
and do us a favor and do your friends a favor. Share this video, share the links with people in your life.
Share. Thank you so much, Billie, for being a part of this.
I'm so glad to.
We love you.
Glad to be here.
Yes.
Absolutely,
Billie.
It's always nice to be remembered, and it's good to see your face.
I know. Thank you for
Love seeing you, Billie. Thank you.
signing in. I love it. We'll see you next week.
Bye, everyone.